Hi guys, beautiful spring day. Figured we'd get out in the wilderness here, the urban jungle. We talked earlier about making the right choices, and we can make our lives harder by making the wrong choices. Well, what if you made the wrong choices? What do you do then? And we'll talk about that in a moment. But first, I ask that you click that top secret icon in the lower right hand corner of your screen to subscribe so that you don't miss out on any practical or tactical knowledge. Now, what if you make the wrong decisions, the wrong choices? Life is not over because you make mistakes. All too often, people are afraid of failure and therefore they do nothing. And the only thing that guarantees is that they will never experience success, and they will never experience anything good in their lives because they are so scared of the negativity, so scared of negative consequences or failure that they do not strive to become what their full potential is. I know from experience that making bad choices does hurt, but it also provides a learning experience in which you can learn how to not only do the right things in the future, but also that you learn a lot about yourself and how to get by in the world and find that place where you're supposed to be. And sometimes it takes failure, and sometimes it takes catastrophic failure in order to figure those things out. Sometimes you have to hit rock bottom. For example, if you are messed up because of substance abuse, and other types of addictions, you have to hit rock bottom before you come to your senses sometimes. Other things have to do with, if you don't try, you're never going to succeed. The number one factor that guarantees you failure is not trying at all. So sometimes our failures, our errors and failures end up hurting us and costing us. While this is true, there are always second chances. Maybe not in the sense that you think there should be a second chance, a do-over for example, but the second chance is the ability for you to learn from your mistake and not repeat it in the future, and move on and overcome that obstacle that you've created in your life. There's failure in every arena of life, including the job or your career, and even in relationships. And sometimes that's what's needed. You need to get past the failure of that relationship or the failures that you've done in that relationship and learn to accept the other person and love the other person. And if they don't want to accept or love you, you have to be resilient enough to say, hey, it's time to move on then. It's important that you choose wisely with whom you spend your time. You choose wisely who you marry. And it's also important to choose wisely how you live in life. Discipline equals freedom. Unfortunately, too many of us do not have enough discipline, and therefore we are not free. I'm learning this more and more as I get older, that I yearn for freedom, but the freedom is only going to come through much discipline. Because of discipline, in that freedom, we actually avoid failure more often. We're free from failure because we live a disciplined life in which we do the right things and make the right choices, even if they seem hard and difficult at times, even if they are things that we don't necessarily want to do. Sometimes we just have to do them, and we do the right things because they're the right things to do. And often Once we've done the right things, once we get past that, even though we didn't want to do the right thing, we realize that doing the right thing was the right thing for the future. Doing the right thing ends up being a reward, not only in itself, but also bringing more freedom and more rewards, and often less failure. So it is often said that not making a decision is the worst decision. Not deciding at all is the worst thing that you can do. That is true for the most part. You have to make deliberation and you have to think about the decisions you have to make. But eventually it comes down to taking action, making a decision, instead of sitting on your hands and being afraid of making the wrong decision. More often than not, if we make the wrong decision, there's always a possibility to redeem ourselves, a second chance. In God, there's always a second chance. We fail often, and He keeps on giving us second chances because He forgives, and He uses our mistakes to teach us, and that's how we can move on and become successful at life, whether it be in our vocation or relationships in school. So the key is to strive to do that which is right, but don't be afraid to make a decision, and don't be afraid of failing. We often learn more from our failures than our successes. So don't be afraid of failure. Learn to embrace it. Make wise decisions, make smart decisions, but don't be afraid that you're making the wrong decision, that it ends up paralyzing you from taking any action whatsoever.